What is up, homies? Welcome to Crunch Time. You know the drill. You know the names. You know the faces. Back at it again with the same crew. I'm meteorologist Kevin Roth. This is Squirrel. You know him. John Breslin. It's Squirrel. It's Squirrel. What's up, Squirrel?
Yeah, not much. Got a massive 4-game slate compared to this afternoon's 3-gamer.
Woo! Big stuff. Hopefully there are better pitching options. I know that was a problem going into the 3-gamer. How did that work out? Was it as not as great as expected?
The cheapest pitcher on the slate dominated. So
no, which guy?
Hogan Harris.
Oh, nice. Okay, that always makes things a little fun. And we also have Keith Eister, aka the Iceman. What up, Ice?
Yeah, back at it again. Definitely more upside at pitcher on this evening slate than there was on the morning slate or the early afternoon slate. Some good offenses as well. So this is definitely a better slate than what we were dealing with earlier.
Okay, I feel like this morning it was a little bit, and you guys just kind of said it, like everybody's in the same tier. It's just kind of like, throw some darts. But this one, you've got takes, you've got leans, you feel strongly about things. Definitely.
And the offense did turn out very much that way. Basically, everybody just scored like 6 runs. So there was plenty of home runs. You needed home runs more than you needed a stack, really.
The full stack. Yeah. Yep. Interesting. Okay. Well, I would start with weather, but similar to the early slate, there are no weather concerns. So we can just gloss right over that and dive into those pitchers. And I believe, Ice, I had you start giving pitchers first last time. So let's flip it, and we will have Squirrel lead us off with your favorite pitchers of the day.
Sure. So I think the top 2 guys are Jack Flaherty and Zach Gallen. I like Flaherty more, I think, facing Boston than Zach Gallen facing the Mets. But it's pretty close. I think they're both going to be the 2 highest owned pitchers on the slate. They're about the same price. I think it'll be somewhat common on DraftKings to just play those 2 guys. I like the idea of playing Christian Scott a little bit. He is a Mets prospect that's got about 4 games, and he struck out a lot of guys in the minor leagues, struck out a lot of guys his first 2 starts, but he hasn't struck out as many guys his last 2 starts, so people are just kind of forgetting about him. But I think he might be good. I mean, he might be a high strikeout pitcher that we're just kind of forgetting about because now his major league strikeout numbers don't look so good. So I think he's actually going to be a guy that I'm going to try to be over the field on. And I think if you're looking for someone that's under-owned, I think he fits that category.
Okay, and is that pretty much your pitcher pool? Those 4 dudes?
Well, I think I named only 3 guys. Yeah, I think the majority of the pitching will be there. I think the other guys that I would consider are maybe like Nick Pivetta facing Jack Flaherty in Fenway, or Carlos Rodon facing Patrick Sandoval in Anaheim. I'm just not. I think there's a clear separation between like Flaherty and Zach Gallen in terms of projection ahead of those guys, and I think the thing that Christian Scott has going for him is really price and upside, and the fact that he's probably not going to be as owned as the top 2 guys. I'm not as keen on hitting that middle range.
Okay, very good. Ice, I want to kick it to you, and I'll start with what Michael says in the chat. Pivetta might strike out 10. He's going against Detroit, so we know he's at least got matchup upside. Is he in your pool?
Pivetta is absolutely in my pool. I wrote up his over 5.5 strikeouts on Scores and Odds today. And the squad ride, which I'm also the captain of today, is Nick Pivetta over 15.5 outs. So I am very much a Nick Pivetta supporter in this spot. Detroit's been really good on offense. And that's over like the last 30 days. Overall on the season, they're not as good. They strike out at like the 5th highest rate in baseball or something like that. Here, I'm pulling it up right now.
Thomas is saying, has Detroit's offense been bad this season? And I was just under the impression it was, but they strike out a good amount, so they do have upside, but also lately, at least, they've been pretty good.
Over the last 30 days or so, they've been pretty good. Overall on the season, they're 22nd in WRC plus and 20th in WOBA. So a bottom 10 offense if you factor in the entire season.
Gotcha.
It is a park upgrade, but the temperatures in Fenway tonight are supposed to be like 60 degrees. So it's not the best hitting weather. Weather Edge even has it as like a 10% downgrade to home runs, which is generally Nick Pavetta's problem. He's a fly ball guy, but he does have that swing and miss stuff. Strikeouts are down slightly this season. I still believe he can be the 30% guy that he was last year. Even so, he's at like 28% this season. So I love the upside for Pavetta, particularly on DraftKings where he is cheap. Just 7,800, I think, is a really nice price, and there's a ton of upside there for Pavetta. At the top range, I completely agree with Squirrel. It's Flaherty over Gallen, straight up raw points for me. It's a great spot for Gallen going into Citi Field, which is one of the better pitching parks in all of baseball. But Flaherty is having his best season of his career. His strikeout rate is up to 33%. Boston strikes out a ton. They're the ones that are third highest rate in baseball. Flaherty just looks like an ace at this point, and he's cheaper than Gallen as well. I think Gallen has a good shot to go deep into this game. No Pete Alonso in the Mets lineup, but I do worry about the strikeout upside. The Mets are not a strikeout heavy offense, so it's Flaherty over Gallen for me at the top. I'll be overweight on Flaherty, underweight on Gallen. I'm overweight on Pavetta, and I'm overweight on Scott as well. I really like this spot for him. Arizona's been okay as an offense overall, but they have massive splits. Against lefties, they're one of the better offenses in baseball. Against righties, they're one of the worst offenses in baseball. So Scott gets that same ballpark benefit that we were talking about for Gallen. It's a really good spot for Christian Scott. And as Squirrel kind of alluded to, there might be some more strikeouts in here. He was a huge strikeout guy in the minors. Arizona, not generally an offense that strikes out a ton, but they have struck out a little bit more this season versus righties than they did last year. So those are my four. I'm not playing Carlos Rodon at all. The Angels have been excellent against left-handed pitching this season, and I just don't see the upside for a guy like Trevor Williams against Atlanta, Sandoval against the Yankees. Ray Kerr just doesn't have the pitch count or the leash that we're looking for, and I actually kind of like some Washington bats against him. So it's those four for me. Gallen, underweight on Gallen, overweight on Flaherty, Pavetta, and Scott.
Okay, I was just going to ask for that exact recap, and you read my mind. Very good stuff. Interesting builds. Let's talk about the bats and the stacks. Kind of just glancing at some of these projected run totals. Atlanta, I don't know, nothing really jumping off the page.
Nothing jumping off the page, but Atlanta and the Yankees definitely the top tier of the offenses. For me, and they're both going to be popular, so it is what it is. It's 4 games. You kind of have to deal with some ownership on a 4-game slate. For me, it's the Yankees clearly ahead of the Braves. No Acuna in that Braves lineup, and Trevor Williams has actually been pretty solid this season. Justin Carlucci wrote up the Washington money line actually on Scores and Odds in this spot, and that's backing Trevor Williams, who has just completely lowered his fastball usage, and he's throwing a lot more of his breaking stuff. So his ERA looks really good. I don't know if it's sticky or not, but Atlanta being down Acuna, Williams being solid so far this season. I still do have some Atlanta stacks, but I think it's a much better spot for the Yankees than it is for the Braves. But those are definitely the 2 top tier offenses. Moving down a little bit, I don't mind some Nationals against Ray Kerr. Like I mentioned, we don't really know what Ray Kerr is. The Nationals are pretty cheap. I like them more as a mini stack than a full stack. I will say that, but I like the prices. They have a lot of guys who have underperformed against lefties this season compared to what they did last year, and the Yankees are kind of like that too. But we're still dealing with small sample sizes. If we're breaking it down by handedness this early in the season, it's still small samples, and I think we can lean more into the longer data, where both the Nationals and Yankees were solid against lefties last season. From there, I have a little interest in Angels as a mini stack against Carlos Rodon, and a little bit of interest in Arizona lefties as well. A pretty big ballpark downgrade for them. And Christian Scott is just a young pitcher who you never know when a young pitcher is going to come out there and not have it together. But those 3 teams definitely a tier below the Yankees and Braves for me.
Okay, great. And Dean pointing out we did just get the Angels lineup in. It is Shanwell, Rengifo, Ward, Pilar, Ohapi, Adele, Neto, Tucker, Paris. I think I butchered 4 out of those 9 names, but is that anything different from what you were expecting, Squirrel? You need to make any changes on the fly seeing that?
No, I think that might be exactly what we were expecting. I'm not sure.
Yep.
Oh, here it is.
exactly as projected.
That projections team just on it every day.
Shout out to Napster, man. He nails that every single day.
Nice. Okay, Squirrel, what are your thoughts and stacks? I mean, Yankees, Atlanta at the top?
Yeah, I think it has to be Yankees Atlanta at the top, but I will say that I strongly prefer the Yankees to Atlanta. And I'll also say that I don't know you necessarily need to go like full on Yankee stack here. Something about the Yankee stack is that I really just like Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, especially Judge, and they hit from different sides of the plate. So a lot of times when it's like a lefty, right, well, Aaron Judge, and when it's a righty, you can say, well, Juan Soto. Although, neither one of them is particularly like splits heavy. I've actually written up Aaron Judge has some kind of weird splits where he hits right-handers at home incredibly well. And he hits left-handers and right-handers on the road about equally well. But in any case, Aaron Judge versus left-hander, he's probably the priority. And then you would want to get like Juan Soto. And, if you really love the Yankees and you want to pick on like Patrick Sandoval, then by all means, like go to Giancarlo Stanton. Gleyber Torres, I think, is a really good option. But, I don't think you have to go full Yankees stack. I don't necessarily know that I want to like spend up on a bunch of Braves bats either, although you certainly can. I think they have the highest implied run total on the slate. I actually kind of like going down the implied run total list to some of the other stacks. We kind of talked about this a little bit in the pitching discussion. I think you can go like to the Angels, whose lineup just came out. They tend to hit left-handers pretty well. We're actually one of the best teams in the league, and you wouldn't really think that. And then I think you can go to Detroit as well, getting the big ballpark upgrade, going against Nick Pivetta. I think that being the road team in Fenway is often a good place to be. So while I think Pivetta is a decent pitching option, I think you can go with Detroit bats as a stack if you want, or as some like value one-offs.
Okay. Yeah. Just David says, I really like Detroit. So you are not alone in that thinking. Guys, we have about 17, 18 minutes here until lock, and the people want the plays. They want the home run calls. And of course, they want us to answer their questions as well. So let's jump into position by position. We'll go around the horn. Squirrel, we start at the catcher spot.
Sure. So catcher, I think probably the top option is either Sean Murphy or Logan O'Hoppe. You can go, I don't know, Connor Wong if you want to. If you want to, that'd probably be like the third best option. Or if we're playing a Yankee stack like Jose Trevino, but like it gets pretty thin. It starts off pretty thin, and it gets really thin after Sean Murphy and Logan O'Hoppe.
Yeah. Okay. Ice, any other names that you have interest in there or feeling the same?
Jose Trevino is the other name that I would throw out there. He's been really good against lefties in his career. Certainly love him in a Yankee stack. I think he's viable as a one-off. He's got a nice over 200 against lefties since the beginning of last season. Sean Murphy definitely still too cheap. He's just a really good hitter. He's missed most of the season. I think this is his third game back. So his price tag is just a little bit too low since he's missed most of the season. And O'Hoppe is right there as well for me.
Okay, great. First base.
Matt Olson certainly looks good. I think you can definitely spend up here. Christian Walker would be the other guy to spend up on. Makes an outstanding tournament pivot if you're trying to get off of Olson. Cheaper, I like Joey Meneses. He has struggled against lefties, oddly, the last season and a half, like since the beginning of last year. This season before that, he was awesome against lefties. So not sure where the power went for Meneses against lefties, but he's cheap enough. I'm willing to take some shots there. DJ LeMahieu would be only in a Yankee stack for me. And then I think you can play Torkelson. Fenway Park, one of the best parks for right-handed power. Pivetta, as I mentioned, has those fly balls.
Okay. Squirrel, your thoughts at first?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's Matt Olson is by far the best guy. After him, it's Christian Walker. My kind of sneaky guy as part of the Detroit stack is Spencer Torkelson. He's sitting down to 7th in the lineup, but it's a big ballpark upgrade. I guess DJ LeMahieu is up to 6th in the Yankees lineup after hitting 9th the last two nights. So he's hitting higher in the order than he has so far this season. So I guess he's an option.
Okay. How about second base?
Second base, I think Luis Rengifo is the best option. Ozzy Albies, if you can afford him, but I actually kind of like Rengifo and Ketel Marte a little bit better. Value option, Colt Keith is a guy that's starting to hit for Detroit. He started off April not hitting very well at all, but he's got good minor league stats, and he is starting to come around in May. So he's another option for the Tigers.
All right. That brings us to Ice. Your thoughts at second?
Yeah, I agree. I like the Rengifo call a lot. Ownership looks good on him. Gleyber Torres did get bumped down the lineup a little bit today, so we have him projected as like mega chalk here. I'm not sure he will be hitting that low in the Yankees lineup. I absolutely love him. He's struggled a bunch this season. He's been a little bit better recently, but dating back in his career, he's been awesome against lefties. So I hope that ownership comes down on Gleyber Torres because of the lineup spot, but I like him a good amount here at second.
Okay, then third base.
All right, at third, Austin Riley is the Braves guy who certainly looks really good. Has been out for a while with injury, making his way back now. Excellent hitter. Don't mind the matchup for him against Trevor Williams. Matt Vierling has been really hot for the Tigers. Another righty against Pivetta. That's what I would be looking for here in Fenway Park. Devers is certainly a guy you can always play in any matchup. I don't have a ton of interest in picking on Flaherty, but Devers is certainly playable. I think my favorite option at the position, price considered, is Nick Senzel, a guy who has trouble staying on the field. He's injured all the time, but when he's been out there, he's been just awesome against lefties. So a little bit too cheap of a price here for Senzel.
Great. Squirrel third.
Yeah, I would emphasize Luis Rengifo is also third base eligible. And I like the Rafi Devers call because I think Flaherty is going to see pretty high ownership. And I think he's probably my favorite raw points pitcher on the slate. But like, you would not be shocked if Devers hit 2 home runs, and that's just the guy you needed to have on the slate. And he's certainly capable of that.
Okay, how about shortstop?
Again, Luis Rengifo, just multi-position eligibility, at least on FanDuel. I think Francisco Lindor and Anthony Volpe both leading off for their teams, and one more leadoff hitter, CJ Abrams. But probably the guy for the price that I like the most is probably Lindor. And you can sneak in Javi Baez. He's sitting down 8th in the lineup, but he is cheap and can occasionally get a hit.
Very good. Ice, your thoughts at short?
Yeah, I like the 3 leadoff guys as well. Volpe, Abrams, Lindor, and I would like them in that order. Volpe would be my favorite at the position. Ownership is going to be there, but he's on the top stack of the night for me. And leading off, so I will have plenty of exposure there. Zach Neto would be the cheap guy that I mentioned, hitting down in the Angels lineup, but he has handled lefties pretty well.
We got Chip the Rip says, hey, sorry, just joining. Did you make your home run calls yet? You guys have been on fire. No pressure. Home run calls, you did not miss them. They are coming here shortly. Finishing up in, what are we at here? Outfield now, I believe. Ice?
Yep, heading to the outfield. The Yankees guys are the clear standouts here. Judge and Soto, as Squirrel already talked about, look phenomenal. Ozuna has been one of the best hitters in baseball. Certainly don't mind his matchup against Trevor Williams, who's below average in strikeouts. Riley Green's been a great hitter near the top of the Detroit lineup. Nice ballpark upgrade for him. Giancarlo Stanton, another Yankee I absolutely love in this spot, has been down against. He's part of the reason that the Yankees have struggled against lefties this season. But if you look at this guy's career, he has just smashed left-handed pitching. So not concerned about a slow start from Giancarlo. Taylor Ward in the Angels lineup, I like a good amount. Kevin Pillar is kind of right there too. I don't know that I'm buying this late career resurgence from him, but it's certainly worth a shot here against a lefty. Michael Harris leading off for the Braves is still a little bit too cheap since he's been promoted to that new role without Acuna. Corbin Carroll has had a rough season, but I still think he's worth taking some shots on at that price tag. Let's see if I can. Lane Thomas is another Washington guy that I have some interest in. Was awesome against lefties last year. Struggled a little bit this year against lefties, but I still think that he'll be completely fine. So I do like some Lane Thomas.
Squirrel, your favorite outfielders?
Yeah, well, I think by far my favorite hitter on the slate is Aaron Judge, and he's an outfielder. But I'm probably not alone in that, so he's going to see some ownership. I will reiterate the Lane Thomas call. He kind of broke the slate last night. I think he had a home run and 2 stolen bases. And he has not been hitting very well at all, but he was pretty good last year, and he might be starting to come around. But the stolen bases have been pretty consistent, and I think it's an overlooked part of fantasy. I'm talking about it all season, but
yeah, we
are seeing more steals. And Lane Thomas is a guy that gets steals, and that's something that doesn't always work its way into our thinking as much as it should. see any other outfielders. Oh, Jock Peterson. Yeah, it's not the ideal park for him to hit in, but yeah, facing a righty. So
Okay, excellent stuff. The people want some bomb calls. We kind of gave some teasers there. Dean wants my Dallas, Minnesota prediction. I think I have Dallas, but I'm honestly kind of terrified. Minnesota seems like the irrational confidence team who actually can come back from a 3-0 deficit. I'm pretty scared, but give me Dallas tonight. But I sure hope so. Otherwise, I'm really scared. You guys have any predictions on that, by the way? You got any strong takes? Dallas, Minnesota?
No conviction for me.
No. Yeah.
I put $100 on Minnesota at the start of the playoffs to win the West. So I'm kind of hoping they take
okay. Do you remember what the payout was on that?
It was 11-1.
Oh, that's pretty good. Okay.
I was on the Sirius XM show with Eric Beimford, and he pressed me for playoff calls, and I just nailed everything. I'm like,
that's amazing.
Somebody should have taped that segment. But yeah, one of them was like Minnesota to win the West. So hoping that pulls through.
Very nice. Okay, good for you. I'm hoping you do not win that $1,100 or $1,200, but that's fine. Let's give some bomb calls for the people. Squirrel, you can lead us off.
Sure. Aaron Judge. Later.
These dogs.
I'll add Spencer Torkelson and Adam Duvall.
All right, Torkelson and Duvall, and then Judge. Of course, man, we got all the squirrel memes coming out. This is glorious. Ice, you got a few names for me as well?
Yeah, I've got a couple cheapies. I'm going to go Nick Senzel against the lefties and Joe Adell also against the lefty.
Okay. Great stuff. Someone asked me for a weather. They said, how's the weather in the Red Sox game? And I just want to double check radar. But I think the answer is dry, but kind of damp. It's been raining all day. Yeah. Dry, but kind of damp, a little bit on the cooler side, winds very lightly blowing in. In general, it would be better pitching weather than hitting weather, but it's not a marked advantage for pitchers. It's just, a little better than normal, especially considering the time of year that it is. What else do we have? Gallon. Okay, here we go. Let's dive into it. We've got 7 minutes, I believe, until lock. Ice, Gallon, and pay down one bat, or Flaherty and pay up one bat, DK single entry.
I like Flaherty straight up over Gallon, so give me the second one.
Easy enough. Squirrel, do you have a dog?
Yes.
Yeah. Hoosiers Hang Banner says, my dog took a dump on the driveway again. That's 2 days in a row. What's that about? Squirrel, what's that about?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Good question.
Yeah. That's tough. I don't know what
my
you do
first
about
dog grew up in Manhattan, and he used to just poop on the sidewalk. And then we got a second dog, Piper, and she looks at the first dog. I used to look at the first, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He's like, this is what I grew up doing.
Right.
So yeah, maybe the dog spent some time in the city, and he's like, yeah, asphalt.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of grass around. And I guess, once you move from New York City, the dog is still conditioned to be like a sidewalk. I'm gonna poop on it. That's a tough scene. Good luck with that, Hoosiers. What else do we have? More QQs here, scrolling down a little bit. DK Cash, Squirrel, I'm coming to you. Stanton Volpe or Soto Arcia?
I'm gonna go Stanton Volpe.
Okay, right back. Squirrel. FanDuel Cash from Jerry. Lane or Abrams? Straight up FanDuel.
Ooh. That's an interesting one. I'm gonna look that one up. Hold on. Because I would normally go, I'd go Lane Thomas.
Okay. Ice, we got D-Rock in the Discord. By the way, make sure you're hanging out in the Discord. That's where the cool kids hang. It's usually where I take questions first. Meneses or Shanwell as a one-off with a Detroit stack?
I'll go Meneses there.
Okay. Ice, thoughts on Arcia on DK for a large tournament with an Angels full stack. And can Squirrel go a little more in-depth on the Christian Scott love? I want to use him, but I'm feeling iffy. So first, can you go Arcia DK for a large field with an Angel stack?
Yeah, totally fine with that. Very fair price. He's up to 6th in the order. And Williams has below average strikeouts, so definitely fine with Arcia.
Okay. And Squirrel, was Christian Scott the guy you said has stolen base upside and not enough people pay attention to it, or was that a different dude?
No, I think that was Lane Thomas, actually.
Oh, it was.
Who was the answer to the last question.
Yeah.
But this one, Christian Scott. So I wrote him up in lineup HQ. But he's a 24-year-old, pretty highly regarded prospect for the Mets. And he's just struck out a ton of guys in the minor leagues, never spending too much time in one place. So he doesn't have like a thing where he had like 200 innings and 200 strikeouts, but he just struck out a ton of guys at every level. Did pretty well his first 2 starts in terms of strikeouts. I think he had like 6 strikeouts and 8 strikeouts. But there's an adjustment, and then his last 2 starts, I think just three Ks and 4 Ks versus Miami and San Francisco. But I don't know. I mean, he's got the upside. I think. Like, what if it's just taking him a little while to get adjusted to the major leagues? It's not like he's getting shelled. Right. He just hasn't struck out a lot of guys his last 2 games, and everybody's kind of forgotten about him, and his price has gone down. So
that's the time. That seems like you sold me on him, Squirrel. I like it. Let's see. Squirrel, is it okay to play a batter against your pitcher tonight? DK single entry.
Yeah, I think that's okay. I don't love it on 4-game slates. Like 3 games is when I start to do that more. But I think you can certainly get away with it.
Okay. RC player says, Ice, can Matt Vierling keep up the heater tonight?
Hope not, because I'm on Pavetta. I think Squirrel probably hopes that he does, but he's been hot for sure.
Okay. By the way, if you guys haven't hit the thumbs up button for us, please do. It's free content. All that we ask is the like, the subscribe. We want to keep giving you the free content. We need your engagement. We need your likes in order to make that happen. Smash that like and subscribe button for us so that we can keep this show rolling. DK GPP, Ice, Green, Verdugo, or Canha and Stanton?
Green? Riley Green. I'll go the second one there. Close.
Brian Marshall says, hey, I joined late. DK GPP, your favorite pitching pair? And I'll ask you both because I think they're different answers. Ice, you can go first.
It would be Flaherty Pavetta for me.
Okay. Squirrel?
Yeah, I'll go Flaherty Scott.
Okay. Very good. What else do we have? I know what we've got. We've got to make sure that you sign up for Roto Grinders Premium because you've got different price tiers for everything you need. 6-month combo subscription, exclusive price of $469.99. That is a savings of 250 smackers as opposed to buying 6 individual month of combo premium. You can get your first month off RG Premium, $40 off for limited time. And if you want a test run, 3-day pass is $19.99. We've got the links in the description for more info. We'll go to Squirrel, a question from Demigod. FanDuel Cash, Util, 3,100 left. Help, I need guaranteed production. Guaranteed.
So 3,100 or less?
That's easy in baseball, right? That's never hard to find, is it?
Yeah, if it's FanDuel,
yep.
I like Jock Peterson the most. If you want something that might be like a little bit like safer, Francisco Lindor. He's hitting lead off.
Okay. Remember that needs to be guaranteed, Squirrel. I just want to just hit that again. You're not allowed to miss on that one. DK Cash.
Yeah.
DK Cash, Rodon, LeMahieu, Ice, or Pavetta Senzel?
Second one and not close for me.
Ice, your favorite stack configuration: 6-2, 5-3, 4-4, 2-2, 2-2, 2-2, etc.
I don't believe you can do 6-2. Maybe on Yahoo. I don't think so. I'm generally a 5-3 guy. On a smaller slate, I don't mind some 4-4s.
Okay. In the util, Stanton or Volpe, Squirrel, who do you like from Rocket Sauce?
I'll go Stanton.
Okay, make sure you get those lineups in. Less than a minute until lock. I'm full fading the Yankees in a large field DK tournament. 1 bullet. Am I a moron? God, I love questions that end that way. Squirrel, is Mr. Irrelevant a moron?
I don't think he's a moron. That Judge, he's going to be sweating those Aaron Judge at bats.
Yeah. Okay. I like it, by the way. So is Rizzo the Yankee? Nobody's playing. He says, never mind. I see he's not starting. Well, he is indeed the Yankee. Nobody's playing. That is correct. What did we miss? My bad. I missed a couple in the Discord here. Ice, Veery, we hit lock. RC player says the Boston game is delayed. Does that mean anything? Is it for weather? I mean, it's not raining currently. So that's all I can tell you. It's not raining currently. It did rain essentially all day, but it's not raining currently. So I assume everything is fine there.
I'll say sometimes it shows up as a delay when they're doing like a before the
Pre-game
game
ceremony.
or whatever.
Yeah, that it's amazing how many people hit me up on that, like on a monthly basis. There's always one of those happening, and like 30 people are like, "You have this game as green." I'm like, it's some jabroni's like Ring of Honor ceremony.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Red Sox Hall of Fame inductees.
There you go. Okay, very good. Red Sox Hall of Fame inductees were good. No issues there. All right. Oh, home run picks. Oh, we didn't do. No, we did do them. We did them.
We did it.
We did them. Do you want to recap them real quick? Hey, it's me, Kevin says, can we recap those? Do you remember what they were?
Sure. Mine was just Aaron Judge, and then I reluctantly said Spencer Torkelson and Adam Duvall.
Okay. Ice.
I had Nick Senzel and Joe Adell.
Very good. And that is a good note to end it on, friends. These dongs coming through for Squirrel and for Ice, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. Well, we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.